on the issue of where women's rights are trampled on by trans rights. We are very much on the same side. And JK Rowling, I think, is an absolute heroine for so many women in this country who just simply want the notion of women and girls to be recognised as a real thing, not a figment of a man's imagination. JK Rowling has said she has received numerous direct threats of violence for her stance on trans issues, but she says she's not concerned about how the backlash to her position on transgender issues will affect her legacy, and she says anybody who thinks that she would be concerned about it has profoundly misunderstood her. She told a new podcast that she never meant to upset anyone. She says, however, I was not uncomfortable with getting off my pedestal. And many fans have said that she's ruined her legacy. She says, they could not have misunderstood me more profoundly. I do not walk around my house thinking about my legacy. What a pompous way to live your life, she says. Walking around thinking, what will my legacy be? Whatever, I'll be dead. I care about now. I care about the living. Well, let's talk to Helen Joyce about this. She's author of Trans, When Ideology Meets Reality. She's also Director of Advocacy at Sex Matters. Good morning to you, Helen.
Hi, Julia.
Lovely to talk to you. We absolutely need more people like JK Rowling. She has been an incredible figurehead for, I would say, our movement to... Well, and again, it's actually very little about trans people. It's actually about women, and it's about girls, and it's about protecting women's safe spaces and women's rights, and indeed our existence, the dictionary definition of what a woman is as an adult human female. JK Rowling was someone who was a figurehead on the left, as you know, the darling of the left and the right on and the Remainers and the woke, and now she is a figure of, I mean, visceral hatred by many on that side of the debate because of her stance, simply for saying that she thinks that women exist.
I bet you it's not many, Julia. I mean, the latest game based on Hogwarts is doing really, really well. She's sold 500 million books. I think she's as popular as ever. Yeah, she's doing okay. We could all be cancelled like that. That'd be nice. Of course, I'm not trying to minimise the hatred and the death threats and so on. They're very real, but they're a noisy, extremist, tiny minority who are trying to make out that a woman who just says, as a survivor of domestic violence, as a survivor of rape, that women sometimes need single-sex spaces, trying to turn that into some variety of hatred. Yeah. Absolutely extraordinary, and I don't think it'll work.
Well, it's amazing, actually, how many people they'll talk about it. There was a Radio 4 interview recently where they talked about the controversial transphobic comments by JK Rowling and this not being challenged. She has never said or written anything, certainly not in the public domain, and I'd be surprised if it was in the private domain, anything that could remotely be regarded as transphobic, other than she doesn't believe that trans women are women. Well, neither does most of the population, because they're not, because a trans woman, by definition, is a biological male, and therefore, by definition, is not a woman. This used to not be a controversial view, but when we've got party leaders, Nicola Sturgeon, still at the SNP, Keir Starmer, and others, who seem to struggle with this. I asked both Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak at the Tory leadership hustings last summer, is a trans woman a woman? Both very quickly said no. Very clear, nothing to discuss, nothing transphobic about those answers, just a clear-cut recognition of biological fact. Since when did biological fact, since when did dictionary definitions of things become hatred?
Extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, the moment when you say that women's rights are anti-trans, then what you're saying is that trans people are anti-women's rights. And that's not a good place to be, because I don't believe that of trans people. No. It's a particular weird ideological movement. I mean, nobody is worse served by the activists who claim to represent them than trans people are. So it's amazing that she's doing this podcast and that she's setting out the fact that what she's interested in is real policies, what works for people on the ground, you know, rape victims in Edinburgh who can benefit from the rape crisis centre that she has set up that is for women only. Yeah. And she's not thinking in this pompous, self-regarding way about making sure she doesn't talk about anything controversial so that people remember her and praise her, and that she's doing good now.
We need so many more public figures to be brave about that. And I constantly have people saying to me, you know, oh, you've been very brave speaking out, but I haven't had a cost to it. I mean, she has actually, been vilified in the way. I had it over Brexit. I'm over it now. I don't care. You, I think as well, you came from a sort of, Remainery, lefty sort of, The Economist. I'm guessing...
The Economist is not left,
Oh, it is.
Julia.
It is. No. I imagine you're not invited to the same dinner parties anymore, Helen. Are you slightly out in the cold in terms of those people you used to mix with?
Some, I suppose. But, I've just got a whole group of new friends. I mean, there's no denying that you do get cut off from some other things, but you're with better people. You're with people who aren't talking nonsense just to stay in with the in crowd.
It's amazing. So what do you make of Kate Forbes, the SNP leadership contender? People are saying that she is absolutely no hoper now. She had been talked about the front runner a week or two ago. Now a no hoper because of her Christian beliefs. Not uncommon beliefs, actually, saying that she doesn't agree with gender self-ID. Well, yay for her on that. She also says she doesn't agree, she's not for her. She disapproves of same-sex marriage, sex before marriage and children out of wedlock. Now, I disagree with her on those things, but I 100% defend her right to hold those views and express those views, whether they are religiously motivated or not religiously motivated. It's important that politicians are honest, and also that people are entitled to hold those views without being accused of being a bigot, isn't it?
I'm completely with you, and I say this as the atheist mother of a gay son. I'm with Kemi Badenoch, who said that what a liberal is, and what she is in particular as Equalities Minister, she stands up for the Equality Act, and belief is a protected characteristic. So I might prefer not to vote for somebody who has Kate Forbes' beliefs, because I have different beliefs. But my goodness, I defend to the death her right to hold them and to say them.
Absolutely, all the way with you. Helen Joyce, author of Trans When Ideology Meets Reality. It's one of the best named books ever, because ideology has really met reality in recent months, has it not? Let's bring back in Tom Slater from Spiked Online. It is amazing how bitter and nasty and rancid a lot of this debate has become. I mean, I get remarkably little abuse actually from the trans activists. I think because they know just like, come and have a go. I mean, it's genuinely, it's just embarrassing.